What's going on, everybody? C4 here today. Very excited to bring you episode 2 of the Portland Snowhawks Relocation franchise mode. Big episode here. This is where we're going to really build the team, take our front foot, and put it right up the ass of everyone else in the AFC West, as we're now looking to make a name for ourselves. Phil Knight, better known as Philadelphia Knight, has decided with $120 million worth of cap that we're going to be frugal in free agency because, you know, see, the issue is the year one is never a good draft class. And then the other issue is, like, when Jarvis Landry would be a tremendous asset to the team, but a surprise, well, not really a surprise, you'll find out before the end of this video, we have from the Patreons, which I'll do a little preamble once we get ready for the draft. We have some positions already on lock, guys that we will be drafting to the Snowhawks in particular, and we have some wide receivers, and we have one guy in particular at the wide receiver spot that's probably gonna be a monster. So, you know, I'll say, right, I don't want to spoil too much, but you'll probably be able to pick up from where we are weak in free agency, where we're already going to be drafting, as far as positions in the draft based off of the Patreons. But, I mean, looking at free agency, there's, you know, some good, some bad. I want to try to get my boy Sharif Floyd, Florida Gator made a free agent, was pretty good down there with Minnesota, but the Dolphins just want way, you know, they're willing to pay him so much. Right now, we're basically at 4-year, $50 million. We're at 4-year, $53 million was our last bid, and we're still 4 points behind the Dolphins. So even though we really do need a defensive tackle, that ain't gonna happen. And the rest of it, man, is just a lot of tackles, a lot of tight ends. Nothing really in particular. So here are the negotiations. We're not going to get Sharif Floyd, but we're leading on David Irving. I know, gross, he's a Cowboy, but I'm really intrigued by using him. He's 25, so his age is decent. He's not going to cost us an arm and leg. 3 years, $11 million. He's 6'7", 273. If I'm an outsider looking in from seeing him play in real life, he's one of the more underrated players on Dallas, one of the more underrated defensive players in the NFC East. So if we can land him, he'll be an undersized D-tackle a little bit, but we are a 4-3 front, so he shouldn't be too bad. Same goes with Taco Charlton. We are pretty much just, you know, am I a homer for the Cowboys here or something? Taco Charlton, he's a right defensive end. Obviously, a Toaster's going to be there, but we're going to slide him into D-tackle. We have no D-tackles whatsoever, and we have no Patrons that want to play D-tackle. So we're going to try to land this little combination. We're gonna try to wipe the musk and the stank off them from the Dallas Cowboys organization and make them full-fledged Snowhawks. We have Butker here, the kicker. We're just going to lowball him. He's the kicker for the Chiefs. He's actually been pretty solid. I was really hoping my boy Jake Elliott would be here, but unfortunately he's not. We got Nicholas here as a backup tight end to Hunter Henry. He actually came out of Notre Dame as a really highly recruited tight end. And he's a blocking tight end. I always want my secondary tight end to be a blocker in case we go 2 tight end sets. I like to have one of them be a primary blocker, and that's not really going to be Hunter Henry, even though Henry is fairly well-rounded. We have Pryor here, Calvin Pryor, as backup depth, more so. I'm thinking about special teams, and this guy here can lay the lumber and really good hit power. And same goes here with Turk, who is, I think he's from USC. He's from Pac-12 somewhere. We just need depth on the offensive line. But other than that, guys, we have clear holes, maybe spoiling a little bit what is going to happen in the draft. I figured just because I'm going to be modifying prospects left, right, and center, there's no real need for me to show you how the draft actually is going to go. But I'll just show you guys the post-draft with the modifications, as well as those of you that got involved with the Patreon that aren't going to be on the Snowhawks because you got a lower tier. You're still valuable to me, incredibly valuable. We'll show where you guys go, where your guys land, and I'll shout out to the said Patreon of who their players. And as always, you know, we'll be following them throughout their career here. You know, why not? Why not? That's what makes this so different, so unique, and so exciting to do. So that's our free agency class. We're gonna sim now to the draft. After the draft, I'll show all of the prospects as well as who we may have signed in free agency. Let's jump into that now. Alright, so here are our free agency signings before we jump into the draft, and we actually were able to land Sharif Floyd. I don't know if that's Phil Knight, Nike money speaking, but with the lower offer than the Miami Dolphins, he chose to come to Portland and start something new, even though we did pay him an assload of money. We're paying him a lot, 53.5, we'll round it up, $5 million over 4 years. But he's an absolute monster, and we needed him. We got Nicholas as a backup tight end. We got Taco Charlton, who will probably start at D-tackle with Sharif Floyd. We got Pryor. We got our depth guys. We got Senquez Golson, formerly of the Landshark defense there in Ole Miss. We have 2 outstanding signings here, Butker and Greg Minks. I don't know why. I don't know if that's glitched or not. But I feel pretty good. I mean, look at the league signings. Drew Brees went to, competition for Jameis Winston to the Bucks. Juice went to the Redskins, who always seem to spend a lot of money in free agency. Ladarius Green went to the Dolphins. Willie Hayes, Raiders. Safarian Jenkins, Falcons. Spencer Ware to the Lions. Barnage to the Niners. Poe to the Colts. Cameron Brake to the Cowboys. Luke Wilson to the Rams. Trey Burton to the Cowboys. So I guess Dallas figured out to replace Jason Witten, you get 2 tight ends. Misi here to the Lions. Let's just go for notable guys. Drake McKinnon going to the Colts. He could be a starter there. Hill going to the Raiders, probably replacing Beast Mode. Teddy Bridgewater to the Broncos. Jamal Charles to the Titans. Crowell to the Cowboys. These signings aren't making any sense whatsoever. Coney Ely going to the Texans. Bradley McDougall going to the Philadelphia Eagles. Outside of that, I mean, like I said, it wasn't a great draft class. It was really headlined by both Jarvis Landry Juice and Drew Brees and those other new homes, respectively. So now it is time to go to the draft. I have actually some prospects I hope we can land, even though we are going to be modifying them a little bit. If these guys can supersede what I'm going to modify them to, I'm going to keep them at it as is. So for some of you guys that have support by the Patreon and get a certain tier, if these guys are better than what you paid for, I will still give you credit for them. And this will be the little quick time before we hop in the draft to plug the Patreon. Everyone that's supported so far, thank you very, very, very much. I truly do appreciate it. I'm going to pop up the little tier things real quick. We're going to try to take less than 30 seconds. So there are varying tiers that you guys can use, first and foremost, to help me support my channel, to keep doing what I like to do. There's a $2 tier, which is basically just a tip. There's a $5 Jake Elliott tier, which is just the quickest way to get involved with this series. There's a $10 Fletcher Cox tier, which is probably, you know, maybe the best bang for your buck, I could say, between that and the $20 Brian Dawkins tier. Both of those are excellent ways to really support me. Obviously, it is a decent commitment, and I never would pressure anyone if you don't have that extra money. It's more so if you do, and you really like enjoying my content, it's a great way to support me. And then, of course, last but not least, there's the $50 Lane Johnson tier, which one guy, God, he's an awesome monster, actually purchased, and we're going to see his freak beast that we draft. But now, because it is a draft, some of you guys that haven't donated yet, you might just find out, you might just have extra money. How can you still get involved? Well, at any point we get a new Patreon on top of what we have, I will just make you an undrafted free agent. You'll have your choice of being a undrafted free agent with the same grades, or we can go crazy and make you a creative player from free agency that is a monster. Literally, you can have any storyline you want. And as I stated on my Patreon page, in case you guys didn't hear it, for those of you guys that renew, because Patreon is a monthly service, so on the first of every month, that is when I get the money. So, you know what I'm saying? So, like, for right now, on November 1st, that's where I get everyone that donated to me already. For all you guys that renew, continue to renew and continue to support my Patreon page. Every draft, whatever tier you're in, you get to have another option at another player, another prospect that we get to add to this franchise mode. I think that's the best way to give you some more bang for your buck. And that's a little bit longer than 30 seconds. Now, that's all done. Let's pop into this draft. Let's go. All right, so here we are at post-draft. A couple things we're going to go into before we go through all the Patrons. First thing is, I didn't really get an answer. Do you guys want to see me use some real prospects in here and mix with some of the random generated guys and the Patreons? I feel like that could be interesting, but I really, like I said, I want to focus this series on what you guys want to see. So make sure you leave a comment if you want me to modify some of these prospects. Now, I'm not going to go nearly as in-depth as I did with the Philadelphia Eagles Connected franchise mode, because I want that still, that's like what you watch that for, the realistic approach with a bunch of rookies. I just finished modifying those. You guys are going to see it probably middle of next week, and there's 150 prospects that I modified. It was very tedious, but I think it's worth it. But I think maybe for this, maybe if we just modify the first round picks every single year on top of the Patreon, so whatever our Patreon is in the first round pick, we can make that into a real prospect. So there still is some believability, some realism to it. I think that'd be cool, but again, it all comes down to what you guys want to see. So yeah, what we're going to do here, I'm going to go through all the Patrons first that aren't on the Snowhawks, and then we will round up with the Snowhawks, and I got to talk about that QB. So if you watched last week's episode, there was one QB we fell in love with. We didn't get him because he went first overall, and he's the best prospect I have seen in any Madden game. I'm very upset about that. So first, we're going to start here going to the New York Giants, and that is where, in the third round, they get a running back from the University of Harvard, Cornelius Equinox. Look at this. You got that quick dev, 70, 75, 90 speed, 91 acceleration. I was told for what he was with this crazy, I couldn't tell what race this man was going to be, but he was a swimmer. So he's defying all odds by being the first great, not only Harvard grad, but the Harvard graduate, near Olympic level of swimming as an African American. He is taking sponsorships by storm. Nike is all over this guy. They're saying he's the next Tiger Woods, but he decided to go to the NFL, go to the Giants, who absolutely need some help with the running back spot. So that's why we have Cornelius Equinox here, selected in the 3rd round. Checking out another one on the Buffalo Bills, the absolute speedster from Canada, up here from the University of Manitoba, Mohamed Abdullahi, the wide receiver burner. Quick dev trait. We got, he was, I think some sort of African camp when he was young. He escaped it, went to Canada. That's very popular for when Canada produces football talent. It's usually people that migrate from there. But look at that, 96 speed, 95 acceleration, 83 catching with that quick dev trait. In particular, being on the Buffalo Bills, man, they have a wide receiver core that is wide open. Jordan Matthews, not a long-term option. Is Zay Jones going to develop? Right now, they're probably hoping Abdullah can develop along with Zay Jones there into a dynamic tandem. But adding some speed to that offense after Philly Brown didn't really work out, and Sammy Watkins is now on the Rams. Moving on to the next one, we're going to the Bay Area and the San Francisco 49ers, who in the 5th round got an absolute stud at the tight end position, Nick Caruso from Boston College, 75 overall with that quick dev trait. But look at that, man. Good size, 89 speed, 75 catching. You get 81 spectacular catch, 83 acceleration. He's a mismatch nightmare. People are saying he's looking like the white chocolate Vernon Davis for that offense. Now, who's going to be the QB? I mean, did they didn't really, they missed. So you would assume maybe it's Beathard. Beathard's going to be there. So a lot of people are keeping eyes here on Nick Caruso at Boston College, if he's going to be the next starting tight end for the San Francisco 49ers. Like, well, who do they have there for competition? George Kittle? I think he should be fine. We'll definitely keep an eye on that as the season progresses. Moving on to the New England Patriots, who in the 3rd round selected a defensive end out of BYU, Austin Knighton, 75 overall, with a quick dev trait, 81 tackles, 78 block shed, but he is a out-and-out speed rusher. People are considering, will they switch him to an outside linebacker, or will Bill Belichick and that really famed Bill Belichick kind of mix and match defense, where he gets players that might not be a perfect scheme fit, might not be conventional by any means, and he makes them work. And a lot of people are saying that is what's going to happen here with Austin Knighton, some second distant cousin to Terrence Knighton. I love that speed, though. 87 acceleration, 85 speed. Bill Belichick is salivating at the tongue about the prospects of this speed rusher from BYU. Moving to another one, going to the Indianapolis Colts. You can't talk about the Patriots without talking about the Colts. And they have selected a guy that a lot of people are saying is the next Danny Woodhead, Tim Whetstone from UCF. Look at the speed. He is a very small man at 5'5", only 180 pounds, but 95 speed, 93 acceleration. You got 76 carry, which is not too bad. He has good spin. He has good juke. But what you really need to look at that catching. 77 catching, 75 route running, 84 jumping, 77 catching traffic. I mean, he also is a kick returner. I think with this guy here, you might have the second coming of Danny Woodhead. And they need a running back there. They have Elan Mak. He probably will be the guy of the future. But you always have a tandem guy here in Tim Whetstone. And maybe he will emerge as the starter before too long. But people are really excited and hope that this can be a good combination with Andrew Luck to buck the trend of the Colts underachieving. Moving on to the next one. We're going to South Beach. We're going to Miami, where in the 2nd round, they selected Miles Jordan, the wide receiver from the University of Florida, 75 overall, with a quick developmental trait. Good size, 6'1", 213. Good mix of size and speed, 91 speed. You get 85 catching, 84 acceleration, 90 jumping, 89 catching traffic. I mean, this guy here is an absolute chain mover from what is, in my opinion, the greatest university in all of the Americas. You know, a lot of people are really, he's the 89th wide receiver already in the league, so people are excited for Myles Jordan because obviously with Jarvis Landry leaving via free agency, there's another spot to open up there. I think a guy like Myles Jordan can certainly compete with Kenny Stills and Devontae Parker for some meaningful snaps right away here with the Miami Dolphins. All right, next up, we're going to the Seattle Seahawks. It's pretty clear the Seahawks needed to go offensive line. So here in the 5th round, they got Noah Hanfelder from the University of Maine. Very, very surprising he went to, is it Maine University, College of Maine? I have no idea. But they were lucky enough to get this quick dev guard who they assume will be, you know, almost fast-tracked right into the starting lineup. 85 strength, 82 run block, 77 pass, and 85 impact blocking. So not only is he going to be there to try to help establish the running attack, but more so to, you know, kind of have Russell Wilson's back. You know, Russell Wilson always scrambling, always trying to make moves and some extra plays by extending it with his feet. And now you got Hanfelder looking to pancake guys left, right, and center. Great pickup there for the Seahawks, who are finally acknowledging that they need to work on the offensive line. Now, going to the Cleveland, we'll say that one for last, actually, or last before we go to the Snowhawks. Moving on to the Tennessee Titans, we have in the 2nd round Louis Rancho from the University of Wisconsin. 6'2", 258, outside linebacker, quick dev trait, 85 speed, 88 tackle, very, very sound tackler. Scouts were ranting and raving that he had the best tackling mechanics coming out of the draft from Wisconsin. 80 hit power, 76 pursuit. I mean, this guy here definitely needs to work on his power moves, his block shedding, getting after the QB. But he has the speed that if he can get in the backfield, he should make plenty of plays, be it a running back or a quarterback. And that 88 tackle, very sound. That's a great starting point for him to develop. The quick dev trait certainly will help. And a lot of people are thinking that he may be the future and face of this defense here. Because it's an old defense. You don't get a Rockbo moving on. Jarrell Casey's getting a little bit older. Louis Rancho might be the next man to take over. All right. So the last non-Snowhawk is we're also going to kind of convey into that quarterback that we scouted that we really, really wanted. First, we'll show the quarterback, not to undersell the player. They got Parker Lefevre, I don't even know, we'll just call him Parker L, that we scouted. First, 87 with a superstar dev. That's the first time I've ever seen that. I saw it 86 one time. I know I've seen it, people tweeting me on Twitter, pictures of it. I've never personally seen it. The best rating I've seen, I saw it 86, go to the 49ers, and I had an 86 a couple times last year. An 87 superstar is absolutely ridiculous here. I wish we got him. I guess that's the only thing. I wish we were the ones that got him. But they did get a very nice free safety from the University of Washington, Jacob Showers. Got the quick dev. You know, his dev trait was up in the air. He was lucky enough to pull out a quick developmental trait. 5'11", 188, 88 speed, good zone, good tackle, very well rounded. And people are thinking, you know, maybe he will be the next combo back there in that secondary with Jabril Pepper. So they're saying the Pepper Showers combination could be on the rise there for the Cleveland Browns. Good speed, real fast. Hit power is good too. So he does a lot of things right. As long as he can develop his coverage stats, he should be a starter and a long-term option there for the Cleveland Browns. So now we're going to be checking out our Snowhawks and how we did in the draft. Still very frustrated we couldn't get that 87 overall QB, but obviously he was going to go first overall. So with our 4th pick, we selected Tristan Linguist from the University of Louisiana State, LSU. 6'3", 224, superstar dev trait, 83 overall, good at everything, 94 speed. He's basically, you know, scouts are saying he's a running back playing at a wide receiver spot. You got 94 speed, 87 route right. You got high catching. You got catching traffic high. Everything is looking real good. Even his awareness is popping off at a 77. 73 carried, 87 ball carrier vision. This guy's an absolute animal. And right now has found his way as a rookie to the top of our wide receiver depth chart, ahead of Mike Williams, ahead of Tyrell Williams. But, you know, people are saying right now, if we don't move on from Phillip Rivers, this guy here could get Rivers back into MVP consideration. But my God, he's a monster. Then in the second round, we selected right tackle out of the University of Syracuse, Johnny Munson, 79 overall with quick dev trait. He is the only person and player that actually got higher than their Patreon level because I just drafted a better one. Every other one I found guys that were within that level and modified. This one here, congrats to Johnny Munson. We needed a right tackle for sure. Quick dev trait. You got the 88 strength. You got everything in the run blocking, pass blocking, and blocking categories is above an 80. So optimism is very, very high that he's going to be our future right tackle for the longevity of this Snowhawks franchise. You know, everything you want, man. This guy reminds me of John Runyon. Looking like a John Runyon out here. Moving on into the third round, we got our quarterback, Brian Dempsey from Notre Dame. 78 overall with quick dev trait. So now, you know, we're not going to be down on him. We're not going to be upset that we didn't get the 87. Dempsey offers us an option beyond Philip Rivers. We have a very tough decision to make. I think what we're going to do is we'll play with Rivers for a couple games, see how it feels. But when you see a guy like Brian Dempsey with the 83 speed, a little bit more mobile of a QB, if we are struggling with Philip Rivers, Brian Dempsey might be plugged in sooner than later. But right now, he is certainly the guy that everyone in Portland is saying could be the future starting quarterback of this organization. So depending on how he plays in preseason, man, there may be an opportunity for him to win outright the starting QB gig. So it's definitely something we want to keep an eye on. But good mobile QB, but more importantly, that 93 throw power, 81 mid, 83 short. Great pickup here for the Snowhawks. Looking here in the fourth round, we got a safety from the greatest university in the Americas, Matthew Samaan from Florida, 6'2", 240. People are already saying Cam Chancellor, who this guy is going to be an absolute monster. They haven't had a safety this good in the Portland Chargers organization since Rodney Harrison. 90 speed, 81 zone. You get the 78 tackle, the 96 hit power. This guy is going to be a force fumbling machine. You know, people are already saying it. With everyone that we got, he may be the fan favorite just because he adds that Ray Lewis vicious fighter mentality to the safety core. And I'm very excited to use him. I think he's going to get a bunch of forced fumbles, a bunch of turnovers, especially dropping in to the box and getting involved on the run game. So everyone is really high up on this new freak monster at the strong safety position. Now, looking in the fifth round, getting another stud at wide receiver as we try to reload. We got Elan Mak from Portland State. 5'11", 202 pounds, already drawing comparisons to Jarvis Landry, who we could have got in free agency, but we knew all along Elan Mak was going to be our dude. 90 speed, you got 85 catching, 85 route running, 90 acceleration, 85 catching traffic, 87 jumping with that quick dev trait. I mean, everything that you want for, he's probably going to start out as our slot wide receiver, 84 ball carrier vision, 84 elusiveness. You know, he's our hard-nosed type wide receiver that we didn't have. The type of, you know, we had Tyrell Williams, big body guy. We got Lindquist, outside starter. We had, Mike Williams, jump ball specialist. We didn't have that guy that can line up in the slot and do the dirty work across the middle. And now we have that in Elan Mak. So we have CJ Rudd, just a guy we're able to draft, 74 overall, quick dev trait. Very happy to get that. We have an outside linebacker here, Harmon Buckley, 70 overall. With normal dev, we got a southward here. Yeah, you know, we had a decent draft class, 76 guard, just trying to build up our offensive line and get some more depth in there. And then another wide receiver, just taking an absolute flyer on the guy that had some good speed and really good jump for a vertical option. He probably won't end up making our roster. But very, very excited, guys. Thanks for everyone that supported the Patreon page to try to get involved with this. Again, don't want to keep plugging it, but if you missed out and you want to get involved, it's still not too late. It will never be too late. I'll be able to work you in different creative ideas that I actually kind of hope someone does come on a little late long, because I have a couple ideas I really want to use. But yes, once again, we will end this video right now with the question: do you want me to modify all the first round prospects into real guys? That's pretty much what it is, because in the next episode we'll open it up. I think we'll come in a day or two, because this, you know, we gotta kind of get through the miscellaneous off-season parts. I really want to try to do that. So maybe Sunday, Monday, somewhere around that range, we'll have the updated draft recap and then the preseason, so that by mid next week we can actually jump into the regular season games. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you're excited as I am to get this series underway. This is your first time stopping by. Don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button. Leave a comment in the comment section below. I'm looking for your feedback. And until next time, C4 saying peace out.